For amendment number 1 by Hughes.
On your amendment, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, the amendment before you simply requires that each mail ballot carrier envelope be sequentially numbered for each election within this online tracking tool. Also details the online tracking tool has to keep a record of each application received by the clerk and each carrier envelope sent out. Again, it's about transparency and security in the process. That's all the amendment does. And I yield for your questions.
Senator West, what purpose?
Question of the author.
Of course, I'll yield.
Now, was this language a part of any other bill?
I beg your pardon?
Is it the language it contained in the amendment, was it a part of any other bill? Senate Bill 7.
Senator, I don't know if we put this in Senate Bill 7. As you know, the Texas Constitution requires that ballots be numbered sequentially, and it's often ignored, but this is to comport with the law. And again, this doesn't let anybody know how you voted, how I voted. Of course, you and me tell folks how we voted, but it doesn't violate anybody's secret ballot. But it's a way of keeping track, making sure that this is the ballot that was sent, is the one that came back. It's really just about keeping track of the system. I don't believe there's anything controversial about it, but of course, I'll yield for your questions.
In terms of the online tool,
Yes, sir.
Are all counties required to have, quote unquote, the online tool?
The nice thing about this bill, and also Senate Bill 7, the online tool will be created by the Secretary of State. The chairman of the Senate Finance Committee has told us she's got the money in the budget, and it may give you some comfort. The fiscal note on this bill for the online tool said it was going to cost Secretary of State $50,000. A lot of money to us, but not much money in the scheme of the budget. So this is a cost borne by the state taxpayers, not by the county.
Okay, but every county will end up having to use the online tool.
Yes, sir. So every voter will have access to it. That's right. Definitely.
All right, no counties are carved out of it.
No,
all 254 counties.
You're correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Good question.
Senator Miles, what purpose?
Questions to the author.
To yield.
Of course, I'll yield.
Brother Hughes, I'm trying to just understand why.
Right.
Can you give me the reason? What is this chasing? What is the?
Oh, of course.
What are we trying to do here? Why?
Well, Senator, as you know, I think you and I agree that paper ballots are a good idea. You know, with electronic voting, sometimes folks don't know whether there can be a recount. But with paper ballots, it's important that we know how many ballots are out there. No, this is the same ballot I sent as one that came back. So this just requires numbering of those ballots. It didn't tell me how you voted, how anybody else voted. It's actually in the Texas Constitution that all ballots are supposed to be numbered. That's what the idea is. It's just really about keeping track and making sure that we have the same number of ballots sent out that come back.
But when you number a ballot, don't you identify who voted it on that ballot?
Oh, no, sir.
Tell
no,
me why
sir.
not. Tell me why not.
Well, if we did that, then somebody could go back and they could see how you voted. And so we don't want to do that. We want to protect that secret ballot.
But when you have a numerical number identified to what household it went to, then you know whose ballot that is.
To make sure we're clear, this doesn't tell us, this keeps track of each one received and each envelope sent out. But it doesn't allow you to go back and see, okay, Senator Miles had ballot number XYZ. No, I'm glad you asked. That's not what this is about.
So Brother Hughes, number 19 is sent to May Jenkins' house.
One more time, I'm sorry.
Number 19, ballot 1919, is sent to Ms. Jenkins' house. You're telling me there's no tracking system, there's no backup that knows that number 1919 went to the Jenkins household?
That's correct. That's important. It's not about being able to see how a certain person voted. That's not what it's about.
So how are we keeping count? Then what is the purpose of it? If the numerical numbers aren't housed or logged anywhere, then what is the purpose of this?
I think I follow what you're saying. The idea is we want to make sure that the ballot that gets sent out is the ballot that gets sent back. As you know, sometimes people go to mailboxes, they steal them. And sometimes people request them on your behalf without you knowing about it. So that's the idea.
In order to know that it came back, there has to be a database somewhere, correct?
I keep going. I think I'm with you.
There has to be a database. When you send 1919 out,
right,
in order to keep track of it, there's got to be a database somewhere, held somewhere to do what you're asking it to do.
I keep going. I'm with you so far.
Okay. So in that database, when it was sent out, You know, in order for you to know that the right person returned the right one, there's got to be a database, a cross-reference.
The number, forgive me, the number is on the carrier envelope that you send your ballot back in. So once everything comes back and it's checked, as you know, the ballot's removed from the carrier envelope and it goes over into the sea of ballots. So if I misspoke, I apologize. The number goes on the carrier envelope that you send your ballot back in. So it's still protected as far as the ballot goes. I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
So clarification.
Yes, sir.
The envelope that it comes back with has the number on it.
Yes, sir.
And that envelope that it comes back in, when the ballot comes back, are you telling me that that envelope is discarded?
Those envelopes are retained, but they are separated from the ballot. And you remember how this process works.
Okay, but the envelope...
So when the carrier envelope comes back, the information is verified, and then then the ballot is removed, and it's put over there with the ballots. The envelopes are retained over here. So we don't know what ballot goes in what envelope, because that would violate the secret ballot if we did that. Okay.
And
we don't want to do that.
When those ballots come back and they're separated from the envelope...
Yes, sir.
Where is that taking place at?
Once those are separated, then there's no way.
Where are they separated at?
They're mailed back to the county. They're mailed back to the county clerk or the elections division if you're in a larger county.
So they're mailed back to the county.
Yes, sir.
And then they're separated.
That's right. They're separated after information is verified. As you know, there's a ballot board. They look at the signatures. The board has Democrats and Republicans. They look at the signatures, go over the details, and once they verify, then the ballot is separated and it goes over there with the ballots.
Right.
So we don't know what ballot envelope your ballot was in.
Okay. So where they're separated, then the envelope goes over here.
Yes.
And the ballot goes over here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's done with the secretary in the secretary's office at the ballot board.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the county handles that on a county by county basis. That's
county
right.
by county basis. So what's to stop the separation at the part of the separation? What is to prevent some hanky-panky going on right there at that place? Because in some of the counties that we live in, there are not going to be a whole lot of people in that ballot board or at the separation. There may just be 2 or 3 people. So we're putting the faith in those 2 or 3 people to do the right thing, is what you're saying.
Well, Senator, what you're describing is current
Senator
law.
Miles. It's Senator West.
What did I call you?
You called me Senator West. That's the other black guy.
He was motioned to. I apologize.
That's the big guy.
He asked more questions.
I'm the better looking one.
Obviously. He asked more questions. Sir? You started this, Senator West. Senator Miles.
Come on, man.
Thank you. So to answer your question, it sounds like the concern is with the current system, because right now, whether the envelopes are numbered or not, right now, an envelope comes back with the voter's name and address on it, and voter ID, and voter number, registration number. Current law, that envelope comes back with that information and the ballots on the inside, and then that ballot board, they have to go through it and they separate. So separate and apart from this amendment, it sounds like your concern may be with the current system. I want to make sure I'm following you.
No, my concern is not with the current system. My concern is with numbering. What your bill here does is numbering the envelope that the ballot comes in, and concerned that at that point in time, we can identify who voted what. And that's not something that is constitutional. And we shouldn't be trying to put anything in place, because I don't think right now, I don't see the problem. I've never seen a problem in fraud with mail ballots. So I'm seeing the problem starting to develop when we start numbering people's ballots and people's envelopes.
Well, since the envelope already has the name and address, voter ID number, so if we're concerned about the envelope being tied to the ballot, it's got the name and address and voter registration number. So this is a separate, discrete number.
Okay, so we have the name and address.
They've already got your name and address.
If we have the name and address, what do we need the number for?
I think maybe we're just... I'm not quite following you, but keep going. I'm trying.
You're a smart man, Senator Hughes. If we got the name and address, what do we need to number the person's ballot envelope for?
So this is about keeping track of the number of envelopes that go out and the number of envelopes that come back.
Okay.
So make sure somebody didn't go into your mailbox and steal the ballot or something like that, which is, there's been testimony that happens. So I'll tell you what, it happens in East Texas. I don't know about your district, but it happens in East Texas. We've had testimony about that.
Okay. We in SB 7.
Yes, sir.
We made criminal offenses. We put in criminal offenses for fraudulent activity as it relates to our ballot, did we not?
In Senate Bill 7, the only crime created was refusing to admit a poll watcher. Senate Bill 7 did not have any other enhanced penalties. Now you recall when you and I first got here, we did make it a state jail felony to put false information on your application for mail ballot. And you and I were here for that. But Senate Bill 7 did not do penalties about mail ballots. I think the House version did, but Senate Bill 7, as we sent it out of here, did not.
Okay. So, and I'm closing out right now. So, would you be opposed to putting, if this doesn't work the way we want it to work, or you think it's going to work? Because I see a possibility where there's some fraud could be committed by numbering these ballots or by numbering these envelopes. I see a possibility, a loophole where some fraud can be committed here. Should we not put criminal penalties on these numbers of these ballots as if they're used improperly?
If someone is committing fraud with these, no matter what they're doing, they're already breaking the law. So I don't know how we could specify an offense just related to these numbers, but they'd already be breaking the law. If they're cheating, they're already going to be breaking the law. We already have that.
Okay, so if we find out we've got a large fraud as it relates to, as your backup comes to help you out, Senator Betancourt, it seems like every time I get on the mic, Mr. President, with anybody, Betancourt backs them up. If we determine, are you willing to say and put in record that if we determine that if we do start seeing fraud on these numbered mail ballot envelopes, okay, that you're willing to come back in the 77th legislative session and take this and redo this?
Senator,
Are you willing to put that on record?
Yes, let me say unequivocally, if there's evidence that somebody is cheating, using this to cheat, yes, sir, you and me will come back and deal with you. Of course, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you for that,
Senator.
of course.
Mr. President, could we
Thank you.
condense our conversation, our banter back and forth into writing?
A lot to condense, but make the motion. Make the motion.
I move that we put our conversation back into writing, sir.
Can we ask you to clean up my grammar a little bit if they do that?
It is as it is.
And you can
All
take
right.
the
Any
part about
objection?
Betancourt out.
Any objection?
Thank you.
Motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.